Hey everybody, how's it going? Well, I'm going to give you a demonstration on how to load and unload the Smith & Wesson Schofield. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually do this on horseback, the way it was meant to be done. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to fire live rounds off horseback because my mare, she does not like that. My old gelding, no problem. I can shoot off of him, but he's 31 years old. He hasn't been ridden in a long time. He's out to pasture. So unfortunately, we're going to have to pretend for this demonstration. But first of all, a little history here. The Colt Model 1873 Revolver Peacemaker had already been established as the sidearm of the U.S. Cavalry. It fired the 45 long Colt cartridge right here. It was kind of slow to load and unload. You had to open the gate. Well, first you had to bring the hammer back, open the loading gate, and insert a cartridge one at a time into the cylinder. Then you close the gate, and then you're ready to fire. To unload, kind of the reverse order. Open the gate, and then you had to punch each spent casing out. So it took some time, and it took two hands all the time to do this. Well, Major George W. Schofield of the 10th U.S. Cavalry had been eyeing the Smith & Wesson's number 3, model number 3. They were originally chambered in a 44 caliber, and they're a lot easier to unload or load than the Colt is. Basically, you break the barrel, you open, swing it down, and you can see there's an ejector. Ejects all 6 spent cartridges at once. So big advantage there. But the number 3s, in order to do it, it required 2 hands, just like the Colt. The latch on the number 3s you had to pull up, so you had to hold the revolver and pull up on the latch while pushing the barrel down. Well, Schofield came up with this new latch right here. So instead of pulling up, you just pulled back, and then you broke the barrel. So it benefited a trooper on horseback. He could actually unload this with one hand, and I'll demonstrate for you here in a little bit. So anyways, Schofield went to Smith & Wesson and said, hey, here's my new design, and then we'd like to incorporate that into your revolver, your number 3, and then also we'd like to step the caliber up to 45 long Colt. Well, Smith & Wesson, this is kind of what they shot themselves in their foot with this idea. They did not want to put a competitor's cartridge in their revolver. So they came up with a 45 Smith & Wesson instead of the 45 long Colt. As you can see, the 45 Smith & Wesson is shorter than the long Colt, and there's some differences in the rim on the cases too. I can't remember which one. I think one's a little thicker or a little wider. But anyways, there was a difference in these two cartridges, as you can see. Here's the advantage and disadvantage of the Colt versus the Smith & Wesson. The Colt could fire the 45 long Colt, and it could fire the 45 Smith & Wesson. But you could not fire the 45 long Colt in the Smith & Wesson. It was too long. You had to only fire the 45 Schofield or 45 Smith & Wesson in the Schofield. So Smith & Wesson's pride got in their way, and then they actually shot themselves in the foot with their pride, because it became too much of a hassle to try to figure this out. The U.S. military had plenty of 45 long Colt on hand, so they decided to, you know what, we're just going to stick with the Model 1873. We already got the ammunition for it. It's too much of a hassle to kind of juggle back and forth on ammunition. I believe they even tried to make an intermediate cartridge between the two called the 45 Government, and I don't think that was much of a success. So the U.S. military sold off their Schofields, and they stuck with the Model 1873 Colt. So you can say Smith & Wesson's pride shot themselves in the foot with it. What was I going to say? Brain fart. Anyways, so the military, U.S. military, they sold off their Schofields. And I think Wells Fargo bought a bunch of them, and they cut the barrels on them. They cut them down and made them shorter barreled revolvers for their agents. Another disadvantage, besides the ammunition, choosing the wrong ammunition for this revolver, was you had to have the right holster for this revolver. If you did not have the right holster, you could get in trouble. As you can see, I'm gonna holster my revolver. Alright, I'll watch carefully if I can get her in there. Alright, this could happen. See the latch catch? So you've holstered your revolver, you go to draw it, bam. You just emptied your revolver. So they had to modify holsters. They had to cut this piece out so that it wouldn't catch that latch. Okay, I just fired off all 6 rounds out of the Smith & Wesson Schofield. Now I'm going to reload. First of all, I place the hammer back into the first locking position. Then I move my thumb up on the latch, the barrel latch. I pull the latch back, take the barrel, slap it across my leg, and I've ejected all spent 6 casings. So now I reload. I shift the revolver into my rein hand. I grab my cartridges, reload the rifle, reload the revolver, close the barrel. We're back in action.